Hi everyone, today is Saturday, March 22nd of 2025, and we're here for the weekly crypto review. So nice to see you all in the house. Yeah, opportunity, again, not lost on it, hanging around the mid 80s, because Bitcoin around 85,000 was a number that I could give the Samantha Jane guarantee to that. I remember I told somebody who didn't sell their Bitcoin they missed they missed the previous high, which wasn't as high as 85,000. I said, "Oh no, hold it. I said hold it to 85,000 just to pay you for your time." Because if you wait for it to go back to, I don't know what it was, 67,000 or I said if you wait for it to go back to that and just take that, I said, well, then you're not paid for your time. And I saw 85 for sure. You want woo-woo people all day long? Well, then you just advertise your abilities to see the future, which is really it's not my thing. But, I do a lot of macro stuff, but we're here to do micro today on the cryptocurrencies. And as far as Bitcoin goes and predicting it, I think nailing that 77,000 bottom. Hi, Sam and Moo. Will Bitcoin hit the 69 to 74,000 range this coming week, then charge upwards? Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know about 69,000, but, we could see in the 70s. We could see. I know that's very non-committal, but again, very, very short period of time. So I gotta squint. Oh, did we get to 77? Oh, look, just a little overnight dip and then it's up. And, so I know a lot of people, you put those bids on. I've done that in the overnight market. You're kind of like, you go to bed and you're like, okay, when the market slows down, when things are a little bit quieter, maybe that order will get filled. Maybe prices will go down and it'll get filled. And then sure enough, it would get filled. And it was because the demand wasn't as high during that particular time. I think that was the people on the other side saying, yeah, we can do short term, but we don't all the time because we know how all you people would act with that. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, imagine if you could open up the newspaper for like 3 years from now, like every day, and it moves a day ahead. I mean, what would you do with that? Ethereum, yeah, if I had a bunch of money right now and I wanted it to stay like super safe, I would probably buy Ethereum. Because this is not a market where you have to take some really big risks to make some money. Now, are there going to be some bonkers returns? Yes. I mean, look at Eternity Chain. And that's up 89.9%. And that's, in a day. So yeah, there are some bonkers returns to be had as we climb this wall again, back up. And I'm hearing now from other people, finally, that no recession. Yeah, recession's been canceled. I'm like, see, I told you, America's going to do great. Just going to get a few more people on board with that. And XRP looks like it's still, a good buy if somebody wants to cash in on that run to $10. I know a lot of people are asking me, if it could go higher, and I'm like, look, you know what? It's the same with Bitcoin. I didn't really see it over 85,000, but that could have been just for sort of this tranche in time. I mean, I'll admit, we're doing a little bit of examining the blab with current stuff too. But we are moving at lightning speed with our understanding of things. So that being the case, $10 is not necessarily the floor, just like I said, the Samantha Jane guarantee price that were quoted, many years ago before, Bitcoin even saw like 100,000. I mean, well, I meant to say a lower number. Like, it wasn't even 20,000. I can't remember exactly when. It was really early on, the 85,000. Solana, 129, still a great buy. It's down 4%. So on the week. So you don't want to buy something that's already running up. Cardano's cheap as well. Dogecoin, staying pretty much around the 17 cents range. Chainlink, still a great buy. Love all those. Stellar held pretty solid. during this pullback, because I mean, it's been at 27 cents consistently. It just seems that it has a floor now, is what I'm saying. Avalanche under 20 bucks. That's a good price. That's, I said, one of my faves for this week, as far as, when you're looking in the top ones and how they're going to move. Sui, still a great price. You know what? Under $3. Imagine. And Polkadot, still waiting for its good news to come. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for Polkadot's good news to come. Right, that's okay. We hold a lot of cryptos, so as the markets now begin to mature, we will get to see some real price discovery, is what I'm being told. Very exciting. Okay, let's get into the questions. We got 35 people here waiting now. We're 11 minutes in. Bill D says, hi Sam, I know that you've talked about cryptos running in April. Do you expect us to hit the 4 trillion market cap, or will that be a little further out? Thanks. I know I was expecting the 4 trillion. Yeah, so this time we would go back to where we were and then a little bit further. Maybe like 4.1 to 4.2, like that range. Very quickly. That's what I think. Yeah, and I mean, we all had some nice prices. I mean, I'm just thinking about Stellar Lumens alone when it was like 63 cents. I was like, ooh, that's pretty nice. Especially if you were buying it at 4 cents. Now, I know that there's cryptos that have gone like 1,000 times and stuff, but, a lot of times they just people just trade themselves into oblivion. I find that a lot of people who were able to buy and hold their good quality cryptos, then they'll eventually roll those out to rebalance their portfolios as soon as the market starts to mature. I'm not going anywhere. Some people were concerned before that I might not be talking about cryptos later on, that I was leaving cryptos. And I said, well, for YouTube, I will be, but not for us. I mean, we have a hobby channel here. I'm not going to stop loving cryptos. I'm always going to love blockchain. But yeah, as far as me being anybody who's well known in the space as seeing the future, it's not really good for me to be blabbing my stuff up on YouTube, what I think is going to happen. Because you guys know how the blab works, right? Sometimes, like, I can't see the backside of the wave. So, you got to be ready. Now, if you had every single crypto that I ever spoke about, if once it went 10 times, if you had, scooped your profit, then everybody would pretty much, I think, on every single crypto have, taken their money back out and still have a nice bag to ride the wave. But, it's always hard to say. A lot of people dollar cost averaged in during the last couple of years when the markets were really low. And that was a great opportunity as well. Because, yeah, imagine how terrible it would have been if we had been taking off and just going up and up and up since 2020. I mean, I know that, I didn't have all my Solana back in 2020. I had an opportunity there. So I just try to look at the bright side of things. I know, I'm annoying sometimes. But I'm like, hey, it's coming. Don't worry, guys. And it was nice to see that Raoul Paul was very positive as well. Because, a lot of people follow him. I was really glad when he got onto the crypto train because, having services like that to get people to critically think about what's really going on from a finance side of things, I think that is very helpful for the layperson who's getting into cryptocurrencies. And that's where I can come in too because, of my own experience. Humine says, I hope I said your name right. Hey Sam, do you see Cardano reaching $5 later this year? Okay, well, I would say the all-time high for sure. Right, yeah, the all-time high. So that was like $3, because that was like a sure thing when people were asking me when it pulled back, or is it going to get back to its all-time high again? I was like, yeah. Oh yeah, most of them will. Most of them will revisit that and go even higher. But there's going to be a lot of new players in the game that I wasn't even seeing yet. So, and that back then Solana and Avalanche came on the scene. Sui, I've had Ondo since then. Like there's new stuff all the time coming out. So we got to stay on top of that because there's certain things that like just, pop out at me for some reason. And now we're really going to have a chance to analyze that. And as we get more members on the server, a lot of the funds can go towards Spencer hiring a team to help go through all of the lab particulars with cryptocurrencies so we can see if there's a way that I have a better hit rate, things like that. Because, it's all about examining the blab and then sharing the information with you guys. Just in case you were wondering what you were pitching in for. Oh my gosh. On a side note, I saw a little blab on the Canadian news, which I started watching recently because as I die inside, every time they say terrible things about Americans, I'm like, please stop. That's not the way to go. The answer is, yes, we will drop all tariffs and we will guard the border and we will take care of this unfettered immigration where people are just crossing into the US and disappearing with Canadian passports, because that was their intention the entire time. So yeah, saw a lot of stuff coming up on the news. Now, nice to see you. Anmar has a question here. Hi Sam, do you see Doge rising beginning of April already? Yeah, I think that Doge, along with the rest of the market, like I said, it's one of the ones you want to be in when the money is starting to filter into the market. And I think that it's official that the quantitative tightening has ended. So, the Fed did not raise interest rates. I do feel like they are going to cut them. But at this point, the ship is already turning around. Yeah. Crypto Watchman says Reggie Middleton just dropped his pre-sale of his First Strike limited edition smart metal 1 ounce silver round with an NFT. There's a limited pre-order of 6,566 available. Is this worth getting for a collector? Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because Crypto Watchman, anything that has a specialty attached to it, when silver itself, even if something is like a silver spoon, that would be melted down, but a silver spoon that belonged to Prince Charles, that would have intrinsic value. So anything, for example, that has, like with the silver that I bought, that has the Sam Jam Productions stamp on it, I have them mostly as giveaway items. So if we have an event or something like that, and I want to recognize some Sam Jammers, because I was thinking like the Doge cruise, that we would have an event before the ship landed, and or maybe at the very beginning probably, and recognize people. And when I bought those silver pieces, silver was only in the teens, the price of it, and so they add a stocking price to every single coin. So I think it worked out to be about, just for itself, the silver was like $27 US a coin. But now, look at the price of silver, right? So I made specialty coins myself, Watchman, and those are worth twice as much as they were back when I got them made. You just pay for the die that does the stamping, like that's a one-time cost as well, and then you pay for the silver, and then I have them all encased as well in individual hard plastic. Shep says, hi Sam, normally the cycle was 4 years Bitcoin. Is the cycle now turned into a different super cycle with steep ups and downs? Yes, that would be it. Super cycle. Yes, you nailed it. That's the wording that I was looking for. Because I'm already answering the question when I'm reading what you're saying. Super cycle with steep ups and downs from a distance up to the right due to increasing big buyers like government, banks, and big institutions. Yeah, start here, it goes up here, but then now it's like these steep ups and downs, but it's still like the trajectory is still up. But here's the other kicker that I have figured out and have nailed so far. The party is for different coins and tokens, right? So not necessarily 100% changed out each time either. You might have a section here where it's like these ones here, and then, maybe Solana stalls at $400, but then XRP, finally makes it to $10, right? That kind of thing. And Ethereum, You know, maybe it lays flat at 2,500, 3,000 for forever. People are getting mad. And then boom, all of a sudden it's to like 12 grand. But it's on the cycle, like let's say about here, right? So remember, we start here and we end here. So the bottom of the screen, the top of the screen, it goes straight across. It goes like that. And then there's going to be different chunks and times. And that's why don't be greedy, because we also see some upset and situations going on in the world as well that will cause some scary pullbacks. And you do not want to be on the backside of that, especially if you are in an area that you need to bug out and get away. Who does the editing? Bill D says, I hope you don't mind if I squeeze in a second question. Anything for you, Bill D, my OG? Do you still expect the LBMA to close down before Easter? If so, what would be the immediate impact of the price of silver? If the LBMA is the pricing mechanism for the metals, how is the silver price even set at that point? Oh, I don't have the answer to that one. But you know what, Bill D? I don't think that it's going to be shut down at Easter. I do think that they're going to become aware that there's not enough silver to pay for the paper orders. And they'll just keep stretching out the time that people can get their silver or their gold. You know, so it's not like 3 days delivery anymore. It's like 3 years or 3 months or and they reserve the right to move it ahead, but to give you 30 days notice of that. So you get to 2 out of 3 months, and then they send you another notice that it's actually going to be 6 months longer. So that's, I think, the way that they're going to play it. Yeah. And that's, of course, going to affect the price of silver because people begin to panic. But, you know, this is just their way of trying to stay out of jail. I don't know if that's going to work out for them. But yeah, when you said it closes at Easter, I'm like, oh, that's not what I'm seeing. You know, as I'm getting closer to the beach, I'm getting a little bit more of an explanation where I couldn't figure out the timing, but I knew it was over a holiday weekend and that it was in an industry that had mostly men in it, which is metals. Sorry, ladies. That's just the way it is. If you're mad about that, get into metals then, because there's not enough. Bradley J says, good morning, Sam. Bo Hines, a senior White House official, said the U.S. could use its gold reserves to buy Bitcoin. Question, will this happen? No. If so, could you see any potential outcomes? Thank you once again. I know it was a quick answer. No. And you know what it is, Bradley J, is that they're not going to offer it on the per dollar basis because they're really backed by the U.S. military and their strength. So it's not just like the U.S. military. Even if all of the U.S. military became weak, and I mean, yes, it is in a weaker state now, but in its weakest state, it's still not as... In its weak state, Canada was never as strong as in the military as the U.S. in its weak state in like the last 20 years. So I don't panic too much about that. But you got to remember the Goldilocks location with Canada and Mexico to the north and south. I mean, only 2 countries to deal with. They're just duking it out now with the whole tariff thing. But he's trying to lift like all sort of limitations between Mexico and Canada so that they can have at it with the American economy as well, because he knows the more the merrier in this location. Remember, I said it before, I'll say it again, the 3 amigos. So don't panic. Everything's going to be fine. It's just going through a rough patch. It's the same with the Ukraine-Russia thing. You know, I didn't see Zelensky losing his crap like that right there and getting upset. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, they're pressuring him and they're telling him that he's got to get Crimea back and, you know, what's been done to them is an atrocity and this and that. It's like, you know what? What's been done to the Ukraine was caused by the Western world taxpayers who backed NATO, who went against what the agreement was signed, I think, in the 94. And so that's what caused the war. You know, so yeah, there should be compensation, but it shouldn't necessarily all be coming from Russia. But, you know, Trump, right? He will create a contract. He will create a deal that's a winning deal for everybody. It makes money for everybody. Everybody wins. Yeah, that's what I like so much about him. Everybody wins. And, but if he's got to play hardball, he will. He realized that, if you have a few $1 million loan at the bank and you can't make your payments due to the economy or some bad short-term bad luck, well, that's pretty terrible for you. It's bad for you. But he figured out, if you're in debt to a bank, $100 million, and you're having trouble paying your debt to them, then it's become the bank's problem. And that's how he worked with it. And everybody sort of sat back and went, yeah, that's a first. Franking cryptos. Okay, so the paper credits are already trading lower than the actual value due to them knowing it cannot be exchanged for physical and gold. So likely silver is next. Yeah, you're right. They don't have enough. But the run on it, that could take, I saw some really big moves happening in the month of November, but I would have to go back and see how quick the moves were up this past November, because for it to be brought up by the people on the other side, it's usually a pretty shocking amount, not something that would be forgotten about. So that could be this coming November as well. As far as, if somebody was going to take profits out in September and wondering if, gold and silver is already pretty high, I don't want to buy gold and silver and then have it go in the toilet by, 10 or 15% a month or two after. You're better off waiting with your cash and then going in and buying some. So that would be good timing if there's going to be a big shock upwards in the month of November, if you're taking profits from the early fall run of cryptos. Because again, it depends on which coins are popping. And, if you bought Solana at $30 and it's at, $4,000, well, you probably should be taking profits no matter how high you think it's going to go, right? Yeah, you never want greedy to get you caught. Ren says quantum computers have circled back in the news this week. Do you see them being a threat to digital assets or cryptos in general? If so, can you give a general timeline and how to protect ourselves? For example, when to get out of the crypto market? Thank you, Sam. So that's a really interesting question about the quantum computers, and I noticed that as well, Ren, that it had circled back in the news. And what I have to say about that is that I never worried about the whole quantum computer thing in a negative, the same as AI. I didn't feel that AI would end up being a negative thing overall, because we would get on to the bad stuff. I don't want you to worry about that. I think that, there's a lot of doom goblins on YouTube. I find it hard to watch, how people are talking about how the economy's tanking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I so do not see that. And I'm not going to say, oh, they make me doubt, because they don't. I know for sure when I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm macro girl, so yeah, you can't fight with me on that. I've been in the skin for too many years now. Even as a little kid, watching something come true that I knew against the odds would happen. And then when you see it happen over and over again, you're like, yeah, just like cryptos running, the United States wanting to be the crypto central. And I was saying that even back when they were like, nope, I like, US dollars is what Trump said in his first term. So I do believe that we are headed in the right trajectory. Nutcracker says, hello, Sam. XRP option trade expires on March 28th. Do you see much volatility with XRP around the date? And should we take profits? Thank you. Yeah, I do see a lot of volatility with XRP. So, if somebody's trading on their XRP, then for sure that's going to continue on. But Nutcracker, with me, I mainly am a hodler. So, I would just hold mine until it's $10. Or, again, you have to read the market. The whole entire market could be on a huge tear, and it goes higher than that. Clockart says, "Hi Sam, how many times will an aggressive portfolio raise from here till the end of the year? Also, do you see us hitting 8 trillion this year?" I don't think so, Clockart. I don't think we'll hit 8 trillion this year. I think by 2028 we'll be at the 100 trillion. So 8 trillion probably like 2026. Because when you think about 2028, the end of that being 100 trillion, that's still some pretty sharp growth. But when someone was saying, that it was going to take between 10 and 20 years, I got a big held in the know from the people on the other side on that. I was like, no, more like 4 years. I hope. That's like California's recovery once you get all those loonies out of there. I heard some people got fired. Well, there's more firings coming as they investigate where that $1.2 billion went for that monorail system that never really ended up going anywhere. Last question and the last of my coffee. Perfect timing. Neo Knight says, "Hi Sam, the next 18 months as the crypto market reaches its heights this year, which seem to be between April to September. Question 1, when do you see the pullback, or do you see a pullback bear market in 2026? Not really. Again, I see the crypto market is going to be affected by stock market crash. So I'm watching the stock market once it goes over 50,000. I don't have anything in the stock market myself for that reason, where timing, I'm not that great on timing, and I know for sure about cryptos, but I've not been given any special insight on too much outside of cryptos. I know gold and silver and real estate are big on my list of abilities to call as well, and I think that's because a lot of the profits that will flow into these sorts of hard assets, because I'm really big on you guys like keeping your money. So no, I don't think there's going to be a big pullback or a bear market in 2026. I think that it's like this and this, 2024 to 2028, but the bigger waves and the different sections depending on what coin. So the ones that are big now, like you might get some big runs in meme coins, but that's never going to happen in 2028, for example. So that's why it's always good to stay on top of your portfolio. Don't be a crypto pig, looking for, I put in $500 and I'm going to pull out once it's 500,000. And it's like, well, you can do that with maybe a couple of them, but you're going to be sadly disappointed if you try that. Because some, your $500 might go to like, 40,000 and then go back and then go to zero. So that's what I'm seeing with this explanation, the way that they're talking about it to me in 4 years, and how the different sectors, decentralized finance, that'll be all of the rage the end of the year. Like right now it's real world assets. They're still going on about AI, even stuff that's not AI. I was like, hey, I saw Near was under the AI list. I was like, woo woo. I'm not going to complain about that. And Neo Knight's question number 2. So we should sell most coins at our targets this year and buy back in the bear, correct? Well, that's what I mean. If you were staying in the market, I just think that it's a good idea to take some profits from that and buy back in, but make sure that you take some profits off and put it into hard assets, because it depends on where you are in the world as well. All right, guys. Anyways, we are at almost 50 minutes. So I try to keep it within the hour. And thanks so much again for hanging out. And I'll see you guys on the live streams next week. I'm sure we have a full lineup. I know we've got Rudy's Psychic Meetup coming up this week, so that's going to be exciting. Hope to see a lot of live people in the house there. Talk to you later.